Everything is up. Welcome to the Meta Report. I am Hate Mail. With me today we have Rundown. Rundown for what? We have Protensis, the WROL's official tech support. He's been working overtime lately. And we also have Doombox. Alright, how's that, guys? Kage is not on, so you're not going to hear Kage.
Can you hear us?
Huh.
Everybody else can be heard now. There we go.
All right, there we go. There we go.
Might be better to just have Parsec open and just let Pretensis fiddle around on your desktop.
Hold on, let me
Right.
turn it down.
Oh, sorry.
You fussy, fussy Chad.
Automatically mute Doom protests. Geez, we're all loud, but it's especially just Doom, apparently.
No, they're probably just mute him. Just he's too loud. One volume too loud. Mute him.
Just shut him off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just end it now.
Okay, I'm gonna try turning you guys down a little bit and see if that helps.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, you did have.
I can actually back away from my microphone a little bit.
Yeah.
Then we can do the introduction all over again.
For those that don't know.
All right, I had to run and turn off the mic on the other computer, so you guys didn't pick that up in the background. All right, guys, so let's actually start this thing. What were we talking about again? Was it Miss Martian?
Yeah.
We didn't even get past the introduction.
I know. Right. Well, before we get into Miss Martian, let's talk about Mr. Rundown. Why don't you just give us a quick rundown of yourself and how you got into the game, since we've never had you on the podcast before.
Okay, cool. First of all, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the invite. I started playing the game year one, believe it or not. I know I'm still a mid-tier player. But when I first started playing, no one else was really playing yet. No one I knew was really playing. So I would either make up alliance for a few friends who were playing, or just play by myself for the most part. So I really didn't have a whole lot of, I didn't even know the Reddit existed at that point. I didn't know about the community. So the first couple of years I played pretty much by myself, and my roster was a disaster. Then I took about a little while away from the game. I came back when they brought in Connor Kent. That's what brought me back into the game. And I've been back ever since and trying to play catch up ever since. So as you guys can see, I've if you've been paying attention to my streams the last 2 months, because I've only been streaming for about 6-7 weeks now, my roster has gone through a complete 180 thanks to the advice of some very good people.
And Protensis, you've been helping us with all our tech support, which we greatly appreciate. Though, I mean, it did take Josh to fix the last problem. But other than that, you've done a great job. And
Right.
just messing with you. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how it got into DCL, how long you've been playing, all that.
I have been playing since pretty much the beginning of April of this year. Got into it because I used to play it when it first came out, like Run said, but I gave up on it after a while because I got addicted to another game. So glad that happened. Anyway, got back into it once I went through my little stint in the hospital with my illness and everything, and pretty much have been addicted in everything since then. It was around the beginning of June when I started healing up all the way that I decided to get into streaming and be a bigger part of the community and everything else. So that's pretty much my backstory.
And it's funny because this episode's about Miss Martian, and my first match I accidentally hit go without having her in the lineup.
Whoops.
Best showcase ever.
So I know, Prot, you took her to L4, is it? Already?
Yes, I did.
Wow, so you wailed hard. How about you, Rundown? What did you take her to?
I currently have her at L2. I was showcasing her just a little bit ago. Probably before the end of the night, I'll have her at L3.
So, overall impressions, I'll start with you, Protensis. What do you think of her? What would you rate her as?
I'm digging her. I don't by any means think she's S tier right now, but I totally think she's at least a solid B, maybe low A. She's definitely good support. She's got a amazing AoE that gives her 3 int and 3 strength to the entire team, but it's on a percent base, which can get iffy at times. But I'm loving her. I'm loving her.
How about you, Rundown?
Yeah, I think I agree with Pretenses, like high B, maybe even a low A. Her kit does a little bit of everything. She smacks, she buffs, as he was saying, and I think she's gonna go with, combination wise, she's gonna be able to fit with a lot of teams.
And Doom, what are your thoughts? I know you were kind of mixed on her.
I mean, I like her. For one, she is the best looking green character we have in this game. Because Beast Boy looks like a big toe, and Martian Manhunter looks ugly. So she's a welcome change of pace. But outside of that, of course, honestly, I'd probably agree with the consensus. I don't know if she would really go into A, but I could see that argument. My biggest problem with her is that she's just walking, talking WG bait. Like, I'm not going to say she's Clayface-esque, but she's made of paper, and it's really, really easy to just slot in a Wonder Girl against her, and then you've got a whole lot of success because, well, every time someone buffs, she stacks a bunch of stuff on herself, and, it gets messy fast. But of course, you have the benefit that you can walk into a match, see who you're fighting. And in that case, no, she's very solid. She enables a ton of characters. She's a really strong option to flex in, like most support characters. She's good if you're bringing her to achieve the specific goal that she can allow you to achieve. So, yeah, I could see high B, definitely. Low A might be a stretch, but, we've seen a lot less of Wonder Girl, and there's a lot more solid answers now, so maybe, who knows?
I was seeing a lot less of Wonder Girl, but I've started to see a lot of Wonder Girl all of a sudden again, which Miss Martian's best teammate in my mind is Lex, which, I mean, granted, that's most people's best teammate, but she's really good with him, like extra good with him. And the buffs do stack up like crazy. So it's... But I didn't think I'd like her that much, but as I use her, I'm liking her more and more. I like the call assist on her buff move. I like that she seems to fit a lot of teams. So she's just kind of a fun character, and I didn't expect her to be as fun as she is.
I'm not going to lie, when I first started playing her, and Doom can kind of bear witness with this one, I sat there and was like, she's Hippolyta Light. She's just like a low-grade Hippolyta, and I'm not really like thrilled with this. And then I started playing her, and I'm like, okay, she does a little bit different than Hippolyta does, and I'm fine with that. And now I'm actually loving it even more.
Yeah, she's just a fun character all the way around, which is surprising to me because she didn't look like she'd be a fun character, but she's got a lot of moves to fit in a lot of different teams. So you can kind of slot her with shield-based teams, you can slot her with intellect-based teams, you can slot her with, I mean, any version of Lex team that you may want to run. And I actually do like her with Saint Walker more than I thought I would too.
I really like her with Saint Walker, but that's going to be no surprise to anyone who knows me because I use Saint Walker in almost every team.
You and your lanterns, bro. You and your lanterns.
Mostly Saint Walker.
I can't even say I blame you.
Who is your favorite team with her right now?
I am running her, Lex, Cersei, and Azrael, and I'm getting insane results with that team. Because if she's not buffing, Azrael's buffing. If she's not smacking, he's smacking. It's fantastic.
How about you, Rundown?
I haven't. I didn't really use her a whole lot yet because I was saving her for today. But if I had to put her with anyone right now, it'd definitely be Saint Walker and a combination of Saint Walker or swap out for Lex, and Larfleeze because of those int ups. The buffing and the potential for int ups, and I was using her with Harley during the showcase, only because I was showcasing the tunes that were in the hero challenge.
And Doom, any particular teams you would recommend for her?
So I'll come out and say that I have probably too many teams and we have time on this podcast. So instead, what I would do is raise an interesting prospect if I can. So, you guys are aware of let's see, card games like vanilla creatures. Creatures with no real abilities are just big old stat beat sticks, right?
Yep.
So in DC Legends, one of the counterbalances to Donna Troy is that you can only run her with buffing characters, because if they don't get that buff, they don't really get that cooldown reduction. So there's a lot of characters that don't buff, but would gain massive benefits from Donna Troy, but it's really hard to fit them in because, how are you going to get that many buffs on people? Miss Martian is a one-person buffing crew. So, for example, like Protensis said, Cersei, right? Cersei is almost impossible to get some Donna Troy benefit on because she has only one move with a 50% chance to buff, and you really don't want to just actively use it unless you really, really need to. But with Donna Troy's, passive ticking on her, she's able to use her AoE, purge, and stun and meter down every other turn. And she can heal every other turn on top of that, or use her base AK if you need to. With Miss Martian, you can use her ability, and then all of a sudden Cersei can just maintain cooldown reduction constantly. And it works out really well too, because Miss Martian can just alternate between 3 and 2 with Donna Troy around, and it works out well. Same with Saint Walker to some extent. Because of his cooldowns, he's a character that it's like, oh, well, I kind of want to get this cooldown reduction benefit, but he doesn't really buff himself. He doesn't really have anything aside from his debuff immunity on his passive that he's able to give himself. But with Miss Martian, all of a sudden, you have a character that can just fire off double assist call, fire off shield, and then just roll out of control a lot faster and a lot better. Of course, Medful is another good example. Hypnotic Lights forever, one of those things. But yeah, so that's honestly my take on it. It's more like she is a one-person enabler for a lot of comps that wouldn't be possible otherwise. Just because the amount of buffs she puts out is uncompared to like 99% of characters. Clayface can do it, but nowhere near as consistently and nowhere near as often. So yeah, that's what I would say on that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of call assist parties, so.
Yeah, I do like the call assists on her. So let's talk a little bit of legendary order. What would you say is the most important skill on her that you would recommend first? And I would say, before we get in that real quick, DuBois, that is a good team. Saint Walker, MJ, Miss Martian, and Jessica Cruz. Surprisingly good.
Nice.
It's also really good with Kilowog, because then you have St. Walker shield passive, Kilowog shield passive, and Martian shield passive all triggering at the beginning of a character's turn. You can get like 50% shield on some characters every single turn that they take. It gets pretty crazy.
Now I see Ogre saying 4 first. I was of the mind that I like her 2 first, but I could kind of see the argument either way.
Yeah, I went 2 first. I went 2 and then 4, believe it or not. I only have an L2 right now, so.
I went 2 first as well, because you're going to open the fight with her second. So why not get the call assist out of it right off the bat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made for either one.
Absolutely.
So
I went 4 first, personally, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I mean 4-2, 2-4. I think those are interchangeable. I think you really want her to be L2 before you even start going. That seems like that's the kind of the mandatory. I think she's better at L4 because you really want the 1 and the 5 just because you want those intellect up so she doesn't do that much damage. But I don't think I would. I don't think I would take the one chosen in chat as saying he took 4-1, but I don't. I think the 1 is important, but I don't think it's as important as the 2 and the 4 personally.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Then I like the 5 over the 1, but I'm not sure what the logic would be to take 1 over 5. Do you guys see a reason you would take 1 over 5 first? And granted, I know Chosen's saying 1 triggers Lex, and granted that is true. If you plan to run her with Lex majority of the time, that probably is the next best thing to take, because you want to trigger Lex with her basic all the time. And I do use her basic a lot for the 25% turn meter down, which is extremely good. And then
I'll let you guys take this one first. I'll go last because I have some thoughts on it, and I want to save Chosen's disappointment for more towards the end of it.
And then I did see a few people saying they like her 3 early because they use her 3 for the buffs, and then they want to be able to use 2 again after they go 2, 3, then 2 again. I don't find I use 3 as often as I use the 1, so I think I personally would take 3 last. I think I'll force a sweet spot, but I'll let you go, Doom, now.
No. Let's hear Protensis and Rundown really quick. What they think about the full order first.
So, as far as like I found myself using 3 a lot because, but at the same time, I can see the logic of going. Let's see. I could see maybe saving that for further down the order. Because, what's the cooldown on Mind Link?
I believe it is. Hold on, let me go back to it.
It's 2 turns.
2 turns.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah. So turns. I mean, you wait an extra turn rather than it resetting earlier. So I don't know if that's as important as some of the other abilities, but at the same time, I can see the value in it. But I'd probably save the 5th one. Let's see. Sorry. I would potentially do 3 last. Honestly, I think the other abilities are just better in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Protensis, do you have a different order, or are you pretty in agreement with that?
Since I did mine a little bit differently starting it off because I knew I was going to get her at L5, I would still go 2, 4, 5, and 1 interchangeable, and 3 dead last.
And Chosen makes it one good point in chat that her 3 is 3 turns, so you're not going to get to use it very often either.
Right.
I mean, but the way the fights I've seen been going with people who have been showing her off a little bit is that these fights are over before she resets that ability anyway.
She just enables people so well that, and the fact that every time she gets a buff or her teammate gets a buff, she gets that extra boost herself. She just enables everybody so well that, honestly, 3's on cooldown. Even if you wanted to use it, it's still on cooldown.
Right.
All right, Doom, you're up, buddy.
Okay, so first things first. I have no clue why you guys rate a 2-turn 2-int buff on a very low damage character so highly, because I'm not bringing her for the damage. I don't care about the 2-int, but that's personal stuff. I mean, whatever. You guys can have your extra 20% damage on her 8,000 damage uppercut. That's a-okay. More power to you. It's cool. Slightly better than Medful damage. That's fine. So her 1. Yes, it enables Lex. And yes, that's fine. You can make the argument for picking that up if that's how you're planning to run her. That's a-okay. I have no grievance with that. I personally find that the match is over before she gets any value out of it, but that's just me. Her 4 is an easy pick. No matter who you're running her with, I mean, it's just a good ability. You just kind of want to have it. So that's going to be top of the chart no matter what, right? And 2, calling assist is really handy. and it's a really good purge move, plus it provides tons of shields, and typically you're going to bring her for the support, so that's just going to be a move you tend to use, right? Which leaves her third ability. Now, keeping in mind, right, when you're bringing her into a match, probably not bringing her to do damage. You're probably bringing her to support your team, right? Which means that you're probably invariably eventually going to be pressing that 3, right? And I know the argument is, okay, well, you're only getting 1 turn off of your shield cooldown, but that's 1 turn off of a mass purge, mass shield, crit immunity, assist calling move, which, I mean, that's already good on its own, right? So rather than doing her basic, you can instead opt to not attack that turn, which can be really handy against certain tanks, you know? Arcus, Eclipso, people you don't really want to be punching at that point. Beyond that, of course, people are typically going to be bringing her with her second ability and her third ability in mind. That's going to be the main draw of bringing them. So for those people, getting a cooldown reduction off of her 2, because they're going to be using her 3, because that's why they're bringing her, is going to provide them more value than a punch, which honestly, like, it's good on its own. It doesn't really need the int up. It's good that it buffs Lex, though, so again, that's fine. So it really comes down to more like, okay, well, sure, I could remove this 1 cooldown, and that's fine. Is that what I'm planning to bring her for? For me, personally, yeah, pretty much. Like, I would go into a match, I'm going to be using my 2, I'm going to be using my 3, and if I have Donna Troy, I'm never touching 1. I'm going to be cycling between 2 and 3 forever, because both of those enable X, and both of those do more than 1 does, so I would never end up touching 1 to begin with. Now, let's say I'm not running Donna Troy. Well, then in that case, assuming I'm running Lex, I would probably still not touch 1, because by that point the match is over, and I've either won or I've lost. So there's that, right? Plus, I run with Giganta and everything. So if I do a basic and I don't get a Lex overheal, that might be the difference between life and death, like 1 out of every 100 matches. But most of the time, it's not really going to be relevant because everyone else on my team buffs. So there's that. Now, I will say, Miss Martian can do damage if she ramps up stupid high, and that's fine. So if you want to go for that extra int at the beginning, cool. Again, more power to you. But I see it as an entirely unnecessary thing that adds next to nothing to her kit because, well, if I wanted to bring a character to do int damage, I probably wouldn't be bringing her. I'd bring one of the other, 10 better green special damage dealing characters. But that's just me. So, I mean, pick whatever you want. That's fine. But for me personally, I would say 4-2, and then maybe 3 and 1 interchangeable because, whatever you need it for, and then 5 last. I have no love whatsoever for 2-turn 2 int stack. It means nothing to me. It's chump change. I get that from a Lex passive every time my Giganta sneezes. So.
That's fair.
So you can actually tell Doom's been playing the game again.
Totally fair. So Josh just put it in the chat. 423/15. It's not a bad way to go.
Josh.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to go.
You've redeemed yourself slightly in my eyes. Thank you.
Hey guys, any final thoughts on Miss Martian before we wrap this stream up? Because we're going to keep this like a normal podcast length, and our meta reports are typically about around this length.
Right on.
And I don't know if anybody else is streaming after this that wants to be raided deep inside.
Protensis, this is usually your time. You're gonna go on and do some streaming.
I literally would only get about half an hour tonight.
That's all we were in. So.
Oh man, typical Big Brother WROL stealing up the regular guy stream time like some kind of big bully. First game.
We even had him on the episode, so.
That's why I was like, never mind, I'm just not going to run tonight because I'm on the episode, so I'm like getting my 30 minutes of stream, so it's fine. It's no big deal.
Yeah, there you go.
And then for the other you guys out there who haven't checked it out, normally this slot is Protensis, so get on and chat with him. And DeBoy, I'm not a professional streamer like you, so I can't go for hours. I have the
Because
stamina. I have the stamina of a little girl. So
I think he's
right,
talking
so
about
I would only get a
Protensis.
half an hour of streaming on because I made promises to log off at 9 p.m. anyway, my time, and that's a half an hour from now. Because, I've been streaming 7 days a week almost, and it's time for me to not spend time with my family and start spending time with them.
and then we have DeBoy, Costly, and M4 all streaming at the same time. Oh, and I think Kitty, all at 9 o'clock, right? So
Oh,
I don't know.
All right, on. So we'll have plenty to do in about a half hour then,
Yeah.
is what I'm hearing. Final thoughts on Miss Marvel. Marvel. I did that again. I did it again. I was just doing that in my entire, like the first half of my stream. I was calling her Miss Marvel, Miss Martian.
we're gonna have to censor that in post so we don't get sued.
See, my Arcus, he never does
Drunk.
anything. He just double punched another Arcus and didn't take like any of his life.
But as far as my final thoughts on Miss Martian, I think she's going to be the green Hippolyta in a lot of ways. Buffing up the other team, getting the buffs up for the rest of her team to do some work. So I kind of agree with Doom. I actually definitely agree with Doom on that regard.
Did we literally break the podcast with agreeing with Doom for a change?
Yeah.
Like, did we
That's
break
why I
something?
kind of wanted to go. Because it just didn't
It's
feel
done.
right.
2020 has ended it all.
And this enemy Arcus has had death immunity for like 5 turns that I'm facing in stream right now. I don't know about this whole 2020 thing. But yeah, we'll definitely, I guess we'll have to have Chosen on. Oh, one thing, I am competing against Chosen on I'm not buying this month. I'm doing it peasant style.
Ooh,
And to see who can rank higher. Because I really don't care about Adam.
Interesting.
So we're
neat.
both recording all of our matches as proof that none of us bought. So you can see the scores going up.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad
Yeah.
you guys are having a nice little EP flexing contest. Always good to see.
Well, there's a
community.
$100 gift card on the line as well.
Oh, okay. What did you open up your change purse and reach in for that one, or?
But it's more about the status, because yeah.
All right. But yeah, final thoughts for Miss Martian, because not like I haven't given enough already. She's good. Bring her if you need what she provides. She is basically Green Hippolyta. Like, if you need buffs, yeah, just slot her in. If you need shields, she does that too. But I mean, if you don't need those specific things and you want damage, there's better characters for that. So, take from it what you will.
A few people are asking about Adam. I don't. Burger has him L4, and his initial thoughts are disappointment. And
Oof.
from what I've seen, he does not look great. He may have some niche spot, but he may end up being a slow gear for me. I don't really need too many more, but I did gear Guy up for raids, so.
That almost sounds like the best part about him is his costume.
Yeah.
Oops.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When you said, "Oh, someone's asking about Adam," I'm like, Black Adam, or like the player Adam, or like what are we talking about? You mean Atom? Yeah, that character sucks. We're gonna have some time on that Adam cast. I'm gonna say my piece.
Yeah, he's not great, but I don't know. I do like Mr. Freeze a lot, so we will. I'm actually shocked at how much I like Mr. Freeze. I really didn't expect him to be very good.
I mean, I would have liked him more if certain things were different, but whatever. I like what he does in Lex Comp. He's actually pretty solid. But yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm running Giganta, so it's I don't need another tank really. But yeah, Freeze is decent. But we'll talk about him some other time, of course.
Yeah, so let me do this last match and then we'll wrap it up. And it looks like Ogre is going to stream now, so we'll have somebody we can raid deep inside.
Neat.
So we will move over to him here in just a second.
Awesome.
But we appreciate everybody on here. And Chosen, I'm not having the whole owl crew, but if you need to phone a friend, I'm okay with you doing that.
Speaking of, I was surprised that we didn't have him on for this one. I would like to hear his opinion on Miss Martian, but he was like, "No, I can't." And I was assuming you guys just had bad blood, you know? Like I was like, "Man, I mean, I know Chosen hates me, but woof, he must really not like you."
And Chosen, I only asked about one match, one time. So.
Oh my goodness, cross the line. No, but seriously, Chosen, you should join us.
That's what he just Chosen just said. Oh man.
All right, guys.
He's live waiting.
Ogre is live, so as soon as I remember how to raid him, I will. What do we do to raid this guy again?
You type his name in the chat.
/raid, and then Ogre's name.
Oh, okay. That's right.
For outros and everything, look forward to the Giganta, because I'm taking her to Rebirth 5, and I'll be happy to tell you guys all about it. Well, probably
I'm looking forward to that.
I need some more fragments, but yeah.
Yep, so we will be probably doing this every Monday-ish, unless Proc gets mad about it. I don't know. We'll see. That's usually when we do the podcast, so we'll see. All right, guys.
His family might thank you.
So we are raiding over to Ogre. We got
Thank you
35
guys for
people
having
coming,
me.
Ogre. Later, guys.
Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Tutitron, and right now there are a number of great charities that you could donate to help those affected by the coronavirus, like the ones supporting bartenders and servers like myself, while we are currently all unemployed. But more urgently, you can become a patron to WROL Broadcasts and get early reviews of new characters before sales end. Just go to patreon.com/WROL Broadcasts for more details. Hey, Bullsy, who's your favorite character?
Hawkman!
Who?
Hawkman!